Hey, Vanover here. I wanted to talk a little bit more about Stratocaster today because I felt like the other day I left a couple of things out that were important. This one is made in 2010. This is your basic standard Stratocaster. It's made in USA. It's a bit different than the other one, even though it looks the same. This is more modern. It has bigger frets, heavier fret wire. I don't prefer that as much, but I don't mind it either. I can play them, and they actually have a lot of volume. But what I wanted to talk about today on the Stratocaster, and by the way, I just want to play a little bit to kind of get in the groove without lecturing here too much. The Stratocasters, if you don't have them set up just right, they're like a car. If you get a car and your plugs are dirty, your air filter is dirty, the thing's not going to run, your brakes aren't adjusted, you're going to have trouble with it. My other Stratocaster has 32 adjustment screws on that thing. 32 adjustment screws. This one has 4 on the neck, plus this tilt. You can tilt the neck back and forth. So you can loosen the screws and tilt it back and forth this way. You can turn it, this way in the what we call the neck pocket here. The bridge has 2 screws here, you can see, that raise the height of the whole thing. Then you've got individual string height. It has 2 screws on this, and then it has another screw here that adjusts the string length this way, okay? What I like to do, the fretboard is not flat, as most of you probably know. On some like metal guitars and classical guitars, it's very flat. This has a bit of a radius to it, and what I like to do is adjust this with a little Allen wrench and set it so that the curvature of the bridge follows the curvature of the neck. It helps me to play better without the strings being too high, or without them, was that southern enough, too high, that they will fret out. They'll buzz on the neck when you try to bend them or something. Also, there are 2 screws in here you can't see under the cover, and that adjusts the tension on the spring. So I can go this way or this way with the springs, and that will affect how much tension I have on the tremolo, vibrato bar here. I can have it really stiff, or I can have it really gentle. I also like to set it so that when you hit a note, you can actually go backwards 1 fret like that. So I try to set it up so that it's leaning forward just a little bit, so that if I want to, I can actually come back on it, okay? So that's really what I wanted to say, because sometimes people get like a Stratocaster, especially if you get like a Squire, or if you get one used, or a copy, or a Mexican Stratocaster, and if it's been neglected and it has never been set up right. And another thing, even with this one, when I got it, I had to straighten the neck. The neck was a little bit bowed, which is normal. It's just a piece of wood under tension, and there's an anchor bolt that runs through here called a truss rod. I had to straighten the neck. So if your strings are low enough and your bridge is not right, and your tension's off, if the string length is off, it won't play in tune. Because these have to be super accurate to where the frets are. That's one of the reasons we talked about Gibsons. When they put the neck in, it has to be perfect. It has to be set. These, you can take the neck out with a screwdriver. So I just wanted to say, if you pick up a Stratocaster and you say, "Ooh, I hate this thing," listen, if it's a good one and it's a good deal, take a chance on it, because you might be able to get a friend to set it up for you, and you might absolutely love it. The other thing I found too is if you have the wrong strings on your guitar, it'll make a big difference. I put 10s on the Fender guitars. because I play a lot of acoustic and I like to play jazz too with heavier strings. So I put 10s here so that the smallest string is 10 1/1000ths of an inch, and you can still really. Timmy Ray was talking about David Gilmour. You got to bend way up like that, and that tremolo will go, with you. It'll flex some, but use a string gauge that's good for you. And just because you read that your hero uses these strings, that doesn't mean they're good for you. Okay, I use nickel strings. I try to stick with the DR brand. That's my favorite, DR nickel. They're called Pure Blues. That's what I use if I can't get them, because not everybody carries them. Good old Diodarios or Fenders will do the trick every time. Okay, but I try to stay with nickel because that's what the old classic records had, and I like the sound of the old records. That's what I'm trying to get into, and you can make a modern sound with them too. But anyway, I just wanted to add that to what I was talking about with Strats. If you don't set it up right, you'll probably hate it, and that might have been a problem that I had when I first got mine. I didn't know what to do with it. So you got to adjust the thing, but when you do, man, you have a guitar that you might want to keep it the rest of your life. See you around.